Good afternoon and welcome back to another episode of VFX with Natron. So, today's going to be an exciting day. I've been having a little bit of a rough week. Natron hasn't been acting the friendliest, or actually I can't blame Natron. It's been my computer has not been acting the friendliest to me as of recent. Oh yeah, but you know, that's what happens. You shoot it enough times with the cannon. Well, we'll do that a little later. Anyway, we're going to try and make an explodey title because, you know, I like making things explode. So, with no further ado, I suppose I should try and show. I'm going to try and show you what today's goal's going to hopefully be. It might not be exactly like this. We probably won't do the little animation, but exactly like that. But, we should hopefully wind up with something that looks like this. And as you can see, just gonna do it a couple more times so we can get an idea of what's gonna hopefully happen. Alright, so with no further ado, let's go to Natron and dig into making this thing. So the first thing we need is some text that we're going to blow up. So, we need a text node. Oop, text, yes, text is good. Alright, we're going to do that. We're going to sit here, we'll put in something more interesting, the standard. We're going to do Natron, right, and we're going to set this so that we use a weight of ultra heavy. Of course, we're going to tell it that we want it to be word wrapped, center, and then take off the auto transform. Set this up to nice big 300. I think that ought to be big enough. Might be too big actually. We can even for now, I'm not going to push. I was going to think about making a Natron Nation and, you know, do the whole 9 yards just like I did there, but yeah, we're not going to push it today because I've not been having that type of week. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is, of course, we need to have a, we need to make the outside of this bigger than what we're going to be doing. We're going to actually work with this in UHD, so we're going to create a constant because the reason is it's going to come past the screen, so I want it to be bigger than the actual than what we're actually going to be doing. And we're going to just say we'll do format and we'll set it to where is it? UHD. There we go. Alright, it's looking better. Let me make sure I've got this looking the way it did over in my demo. Or does it not look like that? It does in... Oh, I know why. That's why. There we go. Right, it's looking right. Alright, so with that, we got to put in, might as well get right into doing the PB. First of all, we'll just do PB Cloud, and we should get the CloudGen. And when we put this in, we should wind up with nice, cloudy Natron text. Why? Because, well, we made it, you know, clouds. We put clouds. That's the whole point of this thing. You throw something into it, it gives you clouds as a result. But we don't want the defaults. We're going to be doing some stuff with this. For now, however, what we're going to do, I think, is... Let me just make sure. We're just going to... Open this up a wee bit so that I can access some controls a little bit better. There we go. I am going to, what we're going to do is we're going to lower a few settings because they are, well, they need to be. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is change the pattern size. We're going to set this from 350 to 450 on the vertical axis, which changes the pattern just a little bit. It stretches it vertically a little bit, which I found made it read the Natron read a bit more, or a bit better. We are going to also set the pattern morph to a size, started off at a size of 1. And let's see, we're going to put a morph speed at 0.01. Actually, no, we're going to leave that default for right now. We're going to keep that the same. We're going to set, okay, the pattern translate is useful for two things. The first thing it's useful for is translating this off around and so forth. But the other thing is that if we change, when we change the pattern size, which is what we're going to be doing, we want this to explode from the center. So what we have to do is we want the text to explode, or the explosion or the pattern to morph from the center point. Currently, by default, it's set to 0, 0, which is the bottom left corner. So we want to set this to halfway between. It's UHD, which means that it's HD is the resolution for the pattern translate. So if we set this to 1920 by 1080, that's going to offset it, and we wind up with that's our new location. And now if we scale things, if we scale the cloud texture, it will scale from the center point of this text area. All right, the next thing we need to do, we need to bring this down because it doesn't start off when, well, I'm debating. We're gonna drop the edge shape down to 0, which is going to remove all the cloudiness, and we're going to remove the softness around the edge as well. So we'll drop that down. So we wind up with nice hard text. Another thing I think I want to do is, for now, oh, by the way, I should point out that this is the version 2, or it's not really 2, but it's like 1.02 version of PBCloudGen. This has a new control. It has some new things in it. It all dynamically creates an edge around it so that it doesn't, you don't wind up with ghosty edges around the edge of whatever pattern you're putting in. That's one of the things it fixes. But also there's now a cloud volume, which works sort of like a halfway, it's sort of like it's a different variant of cloud density. But whereas density can be thought of as like, it can affect how sparse the clouds are around the scene. Cloud volume takes whatever they have and increases it, and when you combine density, volume, and opacity together, you can get a lot more cloud variations and interesting things. So anyway, I just want to point out we're going to be using those. So right, I think we have, I just want to make sure, I think we're going to pull the roll off to 0. Do I want to pull that off? I'm just debating. That really didn't do as much. I think I'm going to bring this shadow mix down. I don't want it to be shadowy. That way when, whoops, I want it to be 0, not, all right. And the reason we're doing that is because we want to get this to be more white. We want it to be lighter. I think we are also going to reduce the texture mix a little to 0. And I think, you know what, we may take the cloud volume up to 2. And as you can see, that made it brighter. And the whole reason is it's thickening up, or it's adding to what exists already. So we wind up with something that almost looks like white text out of the gate. And this will be useful because we want it to look like white text. All right, so that's going to be our fundamental shape, or for our fundamental text. But we need to, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to make this explode. So you need to make this grow and turn into something. So as that is the primary effect, there's a couple things we need to do. The first thing I'm going to do is move this constant off to the right here. And I'm going to, we're going to put a merge node in here. We're going to put a merge node. We're going to connect it up to the constant. And then we're going to connect it to the text. And this is so that what we're going to do is I want to be able to control this. I want to ensure that the text node has is superimposed and that we have everything, it comes into the PBCloudGen properly. And when we do an erode smooth and everything, we have alpha channels and everything's working properly, because as we remember, the text node isn't necessarily it's a draw node, not an image node, and constant is an image node. So I'm superimposing the text over it to make it into an image node. I'm feeding the text node the constant to give it a background, or to set up its initial size. But this just ensures this just guarantees that it's going to work. All right. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is and we're also going to be using this constant to drive other things, because we're going to constantly crop back down, and this is a quick way to also crop things back down. So now we're going to put in an erode smooth. And the erode smooth, this is what we're going to be using this for, is we're going to be making this bigger and smaller. Using the erode smooth is going to make this basically puff up like a balloon. What we're going to do is we're going to set our exponent value to 1. Oops, not 0, 1. And we're going to change the filtering to Gaussian. You know, we might try quasi. I might go with quasi-Gaussian because I was having issues with it being a little slow before, and quasi-Gaussian's a wee bit faster than Gaussian. And we might, it should come close. It might not be 100%. So we're going to keep that at that. I think we have everything there. All right. So what are we going to be doing with this? What we're going to be doing, let's make sure we're going to, for the moment, we're going to put this in here, and let's check our size up. And what we're going to see, if everything works right, and it's not, aha! We need to make sure we enable the alpha channel. There we go. And it's not doing what I wanted. Expand our OD. Everything's good. Good. Everything's good. Oh! Duh. I'm contracting it right now. That's not what we want to do. We want to take it in negative values because we want to dilate it. We want to make it explode, which is bigger. So we'll make it minus 100. There we go. And there we go. We're starting to see it. So we can make it bigger. Now let's just see. So this is quasi-Gaussian. Let's take a look at Gaussian versus... All right, we're going to use Gaussian. This was why I used Gaussian in the first place, was because Gaussian gives us this nice rounded circular shape, which is more cloud-like, which is... Alright, we're going to stick with Gaussian. Just so you understand, or so people understand, it defaults to quadratic. Actually, quadratic looks pretty good. You know what? I think when I did my initial tests, I had this at 5 or so, which 5 doesn't... I might keep it on quadratic. The whole reason behind it was to... Whoops. We want to have that... the whole reason behind doing this is because when we have this at a lower volume, like around... Whoops. Around 40... Let's make it... Oh. Alright. Minus 80. When we set it to minus like 40-ish or so... I felt that before, when I did this originally, I had used Gaussian because I felt it made the text readable for a little bit longer, but I'm fine with this. Quadratic will actually operate much quicker, and it's giving us round thing. We're going to keep it quadratic. I'm improvising because I had so many problems with it. All right, so that's what we're going to be using it for. We're going to be increasing this basically up and up and up until it gets to a massive size, which is going to be huge and monstrous. And why is it not showing up? Might have made it too big at this point. Well, that's interesting. Now it's not looking correct. Wait, oh, because I made it the wrong way. Silly me, did it again. All right, so here we go. We throw it through. We wind up with something like that looks like this. That does not look like an explosion in its current state. And we're going to, let's work on this. All right. So, right. We want to go there. We want to go out to frame, let me get my first frame. We want to go out to frame 35. All right. At 35, we're going to, what we're going to do is, first of all, let's reset this to its default, which is 0. Which has nothing to it. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a keyframe on. Let's see, what are we putting a keyframe on? Let me get out to. I want to make sure I get the right things. So we're going to put a keyframe on our pattern morph. Because this is where it's going to start deviating and start to explode. It's going to transform on the next frame from a text node or something that looks like text into something that actually it's going to be text. We're going to do a switch to switch it because it renders much faster. And why would we do anything that doesn't render fast? All right. We also want to set a key on our edge sharpness and on our edge smoothness or softness. And let's say we're going to keep the roll off. We're going to set a key here and set a key here, and we're going to set a key on our cloud. No, not our cloud density yet. We will be shortly. Want to make sure I've got the right things, and I want a key here because we're going to be reducing. All right, so I'll try and explain what these are going to be doing. We're going to be obviously changing the shape. We're going to be changing this back to its default, or actually beyond its default. So we want to lose the form of text and turn it into cloud. And the reason that it looked like an oval, big oval, or an ellipsoid kind of like a Tylenol capsule in a lot of ways, was because we have it currently conforming to the erode smooths to whatever it produces. It isn't set to turn the stuff into a clouds by default. So we're going to start it off just like this. So that's why these are set like this. This is basically to get it as close to text so that when it transitions, if you wanted to transition it from white text into a cloud, it has the ability right here to look a lot like text. So you could practically transform into this from text, and it would. In fact, here, let's take a look. We'll go here. If we can see a difference, I can't see much of a difference between the two. All right, we're gonna go with it. So, all right. So we set our keys. Now, what we need to do is we need to go ahead a frame. Was it one frame? I want to make sure. On this frame, on the second frame, we're moving one frame at a time. We're going to go from frame 35 to 36. On frame 36, what we're going to do is we're going to change our pattern morph. We're going to physically control it. We're going to change our pattern morph to 0.1. All right. And we're going to set our edge shape to 45. which, as we can see, breaks it up. We're going to set the roll. Well, no, the roll off is already set. We're going to leave the edge softness because we're going to do that in a future frame. We're going to set the shadow mix to 0.5, which is its default. We're going to set the texture mix to 0.1, which is also its default. So as we can see, it's now got a lot of the texture details. And we're going to set the cloud volume because we don't want this to be super duper dense. We want this to look like smoke. We're going to set this to a cloud volume of 1, which is the default. Excuse me, not 1. Excuse me, 0, which is the default. So we've reduced all the textures. So basically, what's going to happen is we're going to have text, and then we're going to have cloud. But this is all going to be happening underneath fire. There's going to be fire happening in the background. All right, so the next thing we need to do is we need to we're going to go ahead a frame onto the next frame. And on the next frame, we're going to set our, oh, whoops, I hit render. That's not what I wanted to do. I was like, why did that go? All right, I want to hit my next frame. I want to go to our edge softness here. This is what the frame we're going to set 40 for our edge softness at this point. And by the way, this is a real pain in the rumpus. You have to, when you hit 2, oh good, it did work this time. I was having problems with this. It wasn't make sure you enter the number into the first one and then hit the 2, and it will enter into the second one as well. So there we go. We've reduced it, and what that will do is it will transform it quickly between, as we can see, it goes from here. It's sort of partially cloudy and soft, and then it becomes soft. All right. And the cloud density, we want to keep that at 1. I think yes, I don't think I think I want to set a key here. Whoops, for the cloud density, because we're going to be fading this at this point from this to 0 using the density as opposed to the opacity, because we want to, the difference is this opacity takes the entire what we have and makes it less or makes the whole thing sort of more and more transparent, makes the puffy thick bits more transparent just as quickly as it makes the less puffy bits. The thing about what cloud density does, you can make something completely transparent by removing all cloud density. If we reduce the cloud density, what it will do is the areas where the clouds are thinner will become transparent much quicker. So it looks like the clouds, the puffy bits are sort of disappearing. So we retain the bigger bits for longer than we can retain the smaller bits. So it looks more like everything is dispersing, which is why we're going to be using cloud density to control the puffiness of or how this thing explodes. All right, so I think that's all we do on this frame. And by the way, yes, I'm looking because this I went through a lot of versions of this. All right. So at the next frame, we're doing this bit frame by frame. I'm doing these things. At this frame, we're going to set the pattern morph to 0. All right. And the reason for this, what we're trying to do over this is keep the pattern morph moving. You can see the cloud pattern slowly changing, but it's changing very, very slowly between those. And by the way, we may drop this down to speed things up if Natron starts to bog down. So we want it to be slow. At this point, we're going to pattern morph, but we're going to then from about this point forward, we're going to be making that morphy pattern move much, much, much more rapidly because things are going to be moving at a bit bigger pace. and we want things to be a little more dynamic. At this point, we also want to make the shape, the edge shape, a much bigger value as well. We want to put this up to 100. And that is going to, what that's going to do is it's going to allow a lot of bits from the, a lot more of the pattern, the noise pattern, to show up as this expands, because we're going to be making this very, very soft. The edge softness, we're going to be increasing this as well. And by increasing the edge softness and increasing the edge shape, or increasing the edge shape, what that's going to do is the edge shape is going to, what the edge shape, remember, edge shape, when it's 0, it's the shape of whatever's the original thing is, whatever our pattern is, or input, which happens to be text in this case. And the higher it gets, or the further away from 0 it gets, the more cribbly and craggly it will get. And because we're softening this out, we want the because we're going to be increasing both of these a lot, we're going to make it so it falls off, so that it looks softer. It will this will allow it to I'm trying to think of the best way. It will keep more of the cragglies out in random places, and it will look more cloud-like overall. All right. So let's see. We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna go ahead in time. I think we go ahead 5 frames. 1, 2, or 4 frames. 4. Let me make sure. Hold on. No, we're going ahead 3 frames. All right, we're going to go ahead 3 frames. And if you're wondering, I made way too many of these. So what we're going to do here is reduce the cloud density down to, I'll mention that we're going to be making this disappear. So what we're going to do is bring the cloud density to 1/4 of its current value, which is going to make it darker, and bits will disappear. Now, we haven't made the Natron itself expand because we're not at that point in our animation. I'm going to go ahead. I want to, at this, or I think it's 4 frames. 1, 2. It's 4 more frames. We're going to, whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. We're going to set this down to 0.1, which is going to make it, this is our fading out of it. Now, again, we haven't animated the cloud. What we're going to do is it will become apparent when we do, oh, you know what? I think I take it back. Let's animate the actual explosion. The explosion is going to be done with the road smooth. The reason I was setting up all the animations on the PBCloudGen is because the erode smooth can be time consuming. So why don't we, but we should do that, I think, now that I'm thinking about it. So we want to go back to, let's pull up our thing. We want to go back to frame 35, which is where we start. And we want to go to our excuse me, that's not right. Oh, no, I'm off by a frame. All right, so here what we want to do is set a keyframe on all dimensions for our erode smooth. This is because this is the first frame. We have no morphing whatsoever happening here. We're going to move ahead, and this is going to, in 1 frame, going to just jump in size. We're going to be going up massively in, I believe it's 1 frame. I want to make sure, I'll double check. Yep, we're going to go to -55. So we're going to make this much bigger, -55, and that should make it, there we go. That's what we're going to have in 1 frame. Now you might say that didn't look that big. Well, it's quite big. You know what? I think I don't like that quite as much as it did when it was on. It looks a little bit different. I want to maybe bring it down to 50 instead. Yeah, I want to retain a lot of our text. So it's going to go from here, nothing, to clouds. This is the explosion. There's going to be burny bits inside of this later on. All right. And then we need to go to, let's see, I'm going to go 5 frames ahead. So we're just going to put 5 framer. Click ahead 5 frames. Should be at frame 41. And here, what we're going to do is go up massive amounts. I don't want this to disappear at this point. So I'm going to put 800. And that's going to be our final size of our... Well, that's going to be our final point for our animation. This is what it's going to be when it's done. And what we're going to do at this point is go in here. And I'm just going to verify on this... I need to, oops. Yep. No, we don't need to go any bigger than this because it's going to disappear at this frame, or shortly after this frame. All right. So we can see this is what's happening here. In fact, actually, this looks a little wrong. That is wrong. That should not. Should be interpolation. This should be horizontal, I believe. That was weird. All right, so it should start off horizontal and then it should pick up rapidly as it goes. All right, so we start off here. We'll go boop, 1 frame forward and then boop, 1 frame forward. It really didn't matter, honestly, but it could potentially influence this, which is why we want it to be smooth. All right, so that's what our erode smooth does. Let's go back to our cloud. Let's go back out so we can see every frame it's getting bigger and bigger. And now at 45, all right, I want to go back. At 45, we are, let me go to 45. We should have everything is set. Okay. I want to go 2 frames forward. Wait a minute. Yes. 2 frames forward. And here we're going to set a key for our pattern size. So we're going to set this is where we're going to start animating from here. We haven't animated this at this point. What we're going to do is we're going to go, let's see, how many frames out are we going to go? I think we want to go 6. Let me make sure. I think, yes, 6 frames out. We're going to we're going to change this so that it is now going to be 650 by 1000. And that is, by the way, a multiple of that. That happens to be a perfect, just so happens to be a perfect multiple. Now, what we're going to be doing for that, if I'm not mistaken, if I recall correctly on our pattern size, now, I think I just want to make sure our pattern size is correct. Yep, that's looking good. All right, let's see what happens here. We're going to just animate this for right now. Actually, we're going to do this really quickly. So we're going to do is set this to 4 and turn it on. We're going to just do a low resolution render so that it renders much quicker. Because we still have a lot of stuff to do. All right. Well, this is taking a wee bit longer than I had hoped. Now, the whole reason that we have this time frame here, this empty space in the beginning, is because we are going to be, that is where we're going to be doing a move with our camera move. All right, so this should be, hopefully, that's not looking right to me. Something's off. I don't see, why don't I see? Wait a minute, something weird is going on here. I'm just verifying something. That's looking weird. It should be morphing, and I'm not seeing a morph. Oh, wait a minute. We haven't animated the morph itself. Duh. I see why it's not working. Let's see. Why are we... Oh, we missed a frame, I think. What was that? What do we have here? We have frame 45, 46, 47. We have frame 47. Right. 47 is correct. Yep. All right. Let me see. 47, and then we have 9. Whoa! I just accidentally moved something. There we go. All right. I want to. Right. All right. This is why we haven't animated the actual thing. So we want to set this to -10, which is going to be, this is what pushes our pattern in and out. This point, there we go. Let's go over to our pattern morph and find that and zoom it. There we go. That's looking, let me make sure my pattern morph matches between the two. That is looking close enough that I'm not gonna worry. The only difference is, no, that's right. I think good enough. We're good. All right, so that's going to, as this animates, that's going to be pushing our pattern through space, which is going to make it look like the stuff is wobbling. All right, so let's see. We can see our pattern sort of pushing through space, or it's taking a minute to update. All right, so there we go. All right, so we were on frame, let's go back to frame 47, I think it was, or 49. Yeah, 47 according to this. Wait a minute, that's not right. I did that on the wrong frame. Remove key. I should have been on frame 49, not 47. Why am I not going? There we go, 8, 9. There we go. This is where it should have been. -10. Sorry. There we go. That's looking better. And this is also where we're going to set our cloud density to its final state of 0, which should make it disappear altogether, which is the last thing we want to do. All right. And I think after that, it's just everything should animate. Let's just go back here and all right. So we have a problem here. One of the problems is that this is going to take 4 frickin' ever to render, because we're pushing a noise pattern with a whole lot of other stuff through. We're animating it all, and when all we want right now is white text. So I think what we're gonna do is cheat. We're gonna speed things up, and the way we're gonna speed things up is we're gonna take our text node and we're gonna bypass this whole thing. And we're going to just put, we're going to just hold down control and pull out a dot right there from the middle. And right down here, we're going to put a merge node. Whoop, oh, it didn't merge the way I wanted, but that's okay. We're going to, all right, I'm going to have to hit period there, put that down like that, and we're going to put that as our, I think I want to do that as my P. Oh, no, I don't want to merge. I don't want merge. I specifically stated we're trying to bypass this, so we want to switch. So we're going to type in, we're going to hit switch. All right, so I don't know if I've mentioned switches before. Switches allow us to change paths or change node chains. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to feed the input 0 of the switch to the text node, like so, and then input 1 to the result of our clouds. So the idea here is that when we get to our clouds, for the first frames of our clouds, which is, I believe, 35. Let's get up to frame 35. Is this refreshed? It is refreshed. Good. All right. So on frame 35, what we're going to do is go over here to the switch, and we're going to put a key there on the which attribute. And then what that's going to do is it's going to keep it at text. All right. And then when we go to frame 36, we're going to set it from 0 to 1, which is going to switch it over to a cloud. All right. So what that's going to do is basically, now watch how much faster frames 1 through 35 render when we hit play. Bam! They just were done like that. So we get all the way up to where we want to do something, and then it actually, something occurs. All right. So that's the first thing. We have created our text. Or our text animation, and we've created a cloud animation. Our cloud animation starts here, so we've given time to doing that. All right, so now what we want to do, let me see, I think it is time we start doing the coloring. So one of the problems, or one of the things we need to decide here is at what point how do we want to go about coloring this? Now, I think the easiest way to color this is going to be, or to color this particular chain, is to prevent it, because once we switch from the text, I want the text to be purple, but I don't want the clouds to be purple. However, I do want both of them to burn. So what I think I'm going to do here is I'm going to, right in this switch, we're going to pull this out a little bit. And we're going to put, this is, I'm deviating from what I actually built in my graph, because I think I can do it better. What we're going to do here is we're going to put a merge node in. And we're going to put the merge node, and we're going to put a solid in here. We're going to put a solid. And the reason we're putting a solid in here is because I don't need an alpha channel. I'm just using this to color. I need it to be, however, I do need it to be my source resolution. So what I do want to do is put some node over here coming from this constant. So I think what I'm going to do is just put a period here, period, and we'll pull it around. All right, so we're going to put that, like this, and that ought to make it look a little more clean. You know what? We don't need even, oops, oh, hit the wrong key. I don't even need that. I think I'm going to just connect that directly up like so, have that come out like towards the top, and take this solid and feed it with that constant from there. All right. So what is it going to do? Let's go back here. What we're going to do is take this solid and we're going to give it a color. We're going to give it, what's our color going to be? We're going to make it this lavender purple right here. Now, it didn't work because we don't have this set to multiply. And also, well, let's see if this alpha is even needed here. Let's set this to multiply. There's multiply. There it is, multiply. There we go. We don't have to do anything more. Never ever mess with things unless you absolutely have to. All right, so there we go. Make sure we still have a good alpha. We do not have a good alpha. Why don't we have an alpha? Because we need to retain the alpha from both in order to do this. So just remember that if we want to retain the alpha channel, we need to enable it here on the merge node for that solid. All right, so make sure you check that. We do want to do that. All right, so we want that alpha. So there we go. So now what's going to happen? Let's take a look at this again. This should go really fast, and then bam, we have white. All right, why? Because the white is, we're going to have fire over all of this as it explodes. All right, so next thing we need to do is we need to actually start creating the fire effect. Well, how are we going to make fire? Well, what I did in the original one is I thought to myself, I want to make it look like something's happening inside. Whenever something blows up, or ships, whatever, I mean, you can make pits fly off. We have that. We'll get that to doing that later if we don't run out of time. I'm a little worried we're running a little long already. What I want to do is I want to create a we're going to do a double thing here. I think, let me just make sure I know exactly what I'm doing. That looks like it updated. All right, what we're going to do is I want to get to the point where I want to make sure I have everything. Let's see. All right, so on frame 37 is where we're going to, I think I want to make sure of something here. All right, I think we're going to bring it back. Let me just go back to the beginning of this. So we're going to go to frame 32 because I don't want to make this take any longer than it needs to. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our text node, which is coming in. We have our text over here. It's coming out and down. And we're going to just link in right here. And we're going to turn this. We're going to erode this. And we're going to use the exact same method. I'm going to just put a dot there for right now so that I don't end up breaking what I already have. And I'm going to put in a road smooth. Road, there it is, road smooth. All right, get rid of that right now. And for our road smooth, we're going to set this. Let me make sure I'm on the right thing. I'm on frame 32. All right, according to what I have here, we want to set this to quasi-Gaussian for our form. We'll see, we may change that. You know what? I'm going to keep it quadratic for right now. I'm going to set this to 45. And we're going to look at that note, quasi-Gaussian. Oh, and we want to set it to alpha. Ah, right. We're eroding. We're eliminating. That's great. Of course. On frame 32, we're eliminating it. We don't want any explosion, nothing whatsoever. All right. So we're gonna set a key. We're gonna set a key all dimensions 45. All right. So we've eliminated it. There's no fire. All right. Then what we're gonna be doing is on the next frame, we're going to drop this down to 22, and what we'll see is I don't know if you can see it very well, but we have these little bitty notches of fire here. Let me just see if any of these look better than. Oh, we definitely want to stick with quasi-Gaussian because it's going to render faster. All right, we're going to go with quasi. All right, quasi-Gaussian. It's quasi-Gaussian it is. All right, so this is going to be the initial points where it starts. We're going to start to see something's going to start bursting through our text for the fiery bit. All right, then what we want to do is on the next frame, we're going to bring it up to, or bring it down, technically. We're going to bring this down to 15. All right, so this is going to create, this might look easier, or be easier to see if we put this over. Let me just make sure. For the moment, I'm going to put a merge node. We're going to merge this on top for right now, and we can kind of see what's going on here. All right, so here on this frame, so let's go back a frame. We don't have any, it's not glowing yet, but we start off with nothing. We go forward, frame 33. Wait a minute, is that right? Oh no, this frame does have something. It's just very, very dark. Once we start glowing this, it will actually, that will show up a lot more. So, all right, frame 31, we have nothing, I think. Why does that look like it had something? Wait a minute. 30, 31, 32, 32. Oh, foo. Oh, I did the wrong thing. This should have been 45. The next frame, this frame, should have been 22. And then the next frame should have been 15. There we go. All right. So let's try that again. 45. All right. So we have nothing. There we have something. We can see it looks dark in here. That could be because that has to do with the fact we don't have the glowing yet. Then we have this. This will be, these are fissures that are opening up in it. And then the next frame, it's going to practically envelop it. So on the next frame, we want to set this to a size of 8. And if you're going to say 8, it doesn't envelop it. This is going to, when we're done, once we put the glow and everything onto this and got it all colored, this is going to glow and envelop the entire thing. All right. Then on the next frame, this frame is where we're going to switch it to 0. All right, because we wanted to envelop the entire thing. Now, oh, wait a minute. Why didn't that go? 0. There we go. All right. So right now we can see it doesn't look right. Something, it isn't, it's still text. It isn't the, it hasn't switched over to the output of the clouds. So what we need to do here, this opens up a point. What we need to do is we're going to have to add something in here. We're going to put between here, we're going to put a period here, so we can take this output of the clouds right there, and we're going to put it in with a switch, a very similar switch. In fact, we may just clone this switch. I think we're going to do that. We're going to just okay this switch, but this time what we're going to do is we're going to say until the frame we want this to be, actually it's basically the exact same thing. We're going to say when this is on frame, all right, so what this switch is going to do is at the same time this switch over here switches from 0, which is the text node down here. This is going to switch from over to the clouds. It's basically the clouds is going to come out here and it's going to come over and then down. All right, let's see if that works. Well, hopefully it will. All right, we're back on the road smooth. We can see it is, there we go. It's the text currently, and then bam, it's now the other. The problem is that as the clouds, it's not eroding properly for the clouds. So we're winding up with something that isn't looking quite right. We're winding up, it doesn't blend correctly. What we really need to do over here is we need to put a gamma node in the middle of this. So I'm going to put a little dot right there, and I'm going to hit a gamma. Put in gamma, and all right. So if you don't know what the gamma node does, the gamma node is going to we're going to basically change how the values of this are over time. So let's see, let me get to the first frame of the gamma, which is going to be frame 37. So, all right, I should point out at 36, one minute, I think, I thought, huh, let me just make sure of something here. All right, it's going to switch over at 36. It's going to switch over. That will give it the cloud, right? Which is we're going to keep it in its full form on frame 0. We're going to keep it like this. We do want the entire pattern. We're not going to actually start eroding it again until the frame afterwards. All right, so on frame 37, what we want to do is we want to go from full gamma to, let me make sure, I think I want it to be, let me just go back, hold on, let's see, I want to, here, I think I said, I want this to be 0.5. All right, and you say to yourself, the biggest problem we have right now is that we can't see the color. We don't have the color on this. So I think at this point, what we need to do is actually, let me just think about this. Okay, we need to address a few things. First of all, let's go back to our erode smooth, and look at this. We have this affecting the alpha channel. I just want to point out that when we go to the alpha channel, for some reason with the erode smooth, looks weird. It does this weird thing. I want the alpha channel to match this, not this. So what we need to do on this erode smooth over here is at this point in time, actually we need to go back one more frame. It should be frame 32. We can still see the funkiness here. It's not transparent. So we need to put a shuffle node in here and reassign the R channel, which is black, to the alpha channel, which is currently this, which is not what we want. So I'm going to put a shuffle node in here. All right. And we're going to just simply say, let's take a look at our alpha. So now we're looking at our alpha. And for our alpha, we're going to set the alpha channel from A to the B, to the to the R channel. Excuse me. So from A to B, yeah, it's going to be going from B channel I to the B channel R. All right. So there we go. We now the alpha is black, and we'll try as we go forward. We can see it. It transforms on top of it, and it should look the same. Interesting. Wait a minute. Oh, we're not looking at it. All right, here we go. So we should. There we go. We can see it, and here we can see something. We're not seeing this because we don't have color. All right, so it's time to add color in. Now that we've set the alpha, fixed the alpha, we need to grade this. All right, so let's go over here. Let's hit G to grade. How are we going to do this? This is explodiness. So explodiness means that we want to color it. How are we going to color it? Well, we did, like up here where we did a multiply and multiply to solid over it. What we're going to do here is we're going to put a multiply here. We're going to multiply a color over it. And I think I originally wanted to use this, but I decided to change it a little bit. And so if you select this and then modify it so that instead of being 255, 170, 127, it becomes 255, 170, 108, because I wanted there to be less blue in it. I wanted it to be a little more orangey yellow when it glows, because we're going to be bringing the brightness of this up a lot. All right, so there we go. We've got it colored. All right, or at least we have the foundations for the color. Now what we need to do is boost it up so that it actually glows. And the way we boost this up is that we take the gain, and I believe I set it to 35. So if I set the gain to 35, we wind up with this, which looks really, really, really bright and really, really, really hot, and might not look overly good right now. But it will, once we start glowing this, actually, wait a minute, am I doing everything right? I want to make sure. I don't know. Oh, you know what part of the problem is? We can't see the actual glow. So here we go. When we zoom in on this really close, we can see that there is this orangey yellow halo and that it's whitish. So we get that, quote, the laser effect of a yellowy white. We want this to be brilliantly white, but we want it to be orange because this is explodiness. So that is what we're doing. That's how we get the explodiness, is with this color, and then souping it up to 35 times its original value. And when we put it over the other, it doesn't look overly impressive here because it's not glowing yet. Now, I'm going to save our project now because we're going to be putting in the glow. And the glow, well, I think for right now, what I might do is knock this down just to save us from having to do a glow on top of this for now. I might keep it here just so that we can, for the time being, we can always add it. The problem is that when I got to the glow on my version, I ran into lots of issues and it caused all kinds of headaches. All right, so I'm just looking at the time. This has already run very long today. I may continue this on Monday and make this a two-parter instead. So we're gonna just call this. We're gonna call this part one. We'll put the glow on it and just see what it get the glow bits animated so that people will have something, you know, so it feels like it. We'll do the sparks on the next round. So, all right, so we're going to do this. We're going to, for the time being, what I want to do, though, is go ahead. Let's go forward in time, just so that we can get to the point. Where is it? It's a frame. I want to make sure I'm at the right frame. There we go. All right, so here we go. All right, so we're going to, what we're going to be doing with the gamma, I hope, is pulling the gamma down. All right, we don't have the gamma set. Oh, wait, I do have the gamma set. Huh. Let me just look at this and figure out what is going on. All right. Frame 37. We're supposed to hit the set key. Oh, you know what it is? I bet you it's because we're not glowing it. All right. Well, this has got the gamma on it. Let's take a look at what this does. I think we're over onto the correct thing. I want to make sure we should be. Well, let's see. Road. That's the 0.5. I want to make sure I've got everything. Yes, that's correct. And that is correct. All right. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, that's correct. All right. We're going to take this grade back up to 35 so that it's nice and hot. We can see the burniness happening. That's burning, but it's not glowing. So we're going to glow this. Oh, yes, I'm going to just save this just to be on the safe side. We're going to, oh, whoops, we want to go to here, up a level. We're going to make this, I don't even know what episode we're on. I don't think it's 46. I'm just going to put episode. I think we've had 2 episodes until I actually made one. So I'm going to make it this 40. We'll make it 48 just to be on the safe side. I know I need to. I haven't gotten around. I've started renaming them all. Anyway, we're going to call this. Right, this is going to be logo underscore boom. Simple enough. Underscore live underscore 001. Whoops. That wasn't an underscore. 001. 1. There we go. Boom. And that should save it. That way if things go haywire, because this is where I had a lot of things going haywire on me. Crossing my fingers this isn't gonna. It's just taking it a bit. Sorry, can't speed it up. I want to. So what the gamma's going to do, if everything is set correctly, once. Wait a minute, something is definitely. Oh, I think I know what's going on. Hold on. I think we. Aha! We didn't affect the alpha channel. Affect the alpha channel. Aha! There we go. The alpha channel, when we affected the alpha channel, we saw a big change. Let me make sure when I did the grade, did I do the grade to the alpha? No, I did not. So I just want to make sure all of these are affecting alpha. Because other than this one, which is not supposed to. All right. So there we go. I'm on that. On 37, 38... if everything worked all right, we should start seeing this shrink. Oh, it's getting all right. It's not quite where I remember it being. Let me just go here and check something here. Did I not finish that? Oh. Wait a minute. Oh, foo. Hold on. I did something between. I'm just looking at what did I do here. Why did that? Why does that change it? All everything. Hold the phone. No. B. All right, so I'm just, according to my notes, I have a second merge node in here. And I just want to make sure that when I do that, let's go back to RGB. I just want to make sure something here. I'm going to pull this grade node down, this over. We're going to ultimately put a blur node in here too. I want to just grab that, pull that over like so. And then I want to have another merge node. What am I doing here? I take the result of that and I superimpose it over that. And there we go. It fixes it. There we go. All right. It does work. All right. So what that did, I think that I did that just thinking. All right. So what it's doing is it's basically, I think I'm pre-multiplying it, but I'm also defining the, I want to just double check on two things. Yes. Right. All right. So let's focus on this. All right, so let's go back. Let me just see if this is actually doing everything that I expected it to do. No, it's actually not doing everything I'm expecting it to do. And I want to just verify Why? Something is not going quite as expected. Unless I am... No. So this is our explosion. And this is our explosion composited over what's already there. Right. Right. That's why we have to have it. No. Wait a minute. This is our explosion composited over nothing with pre-multiplied. This pre-multiplies it. Right. We're pre-multiplying this over itself, which is going to it's going to double pre-multiply it. All right, which is going to give it a halo, which basically eats away twice on it, which makes it look a little bit better. And I think that is how the what I used the gamma for, but I thought I animated the gamma. We're getting into a touchy-feely spot. I did animate the gamma. I thought I did. All right, hold on 1 second. Let me get to the... Right, on frame 40, I set the gamma from 0.5 to 0.3. Whoops, no, not 1.3. There we go. All right. So, all right, let's see what that does. So we can see that that's dropped the value of it quite significantly. All right. So we can see that this burst is a lot brighter and hotter, and then it dissipates. All right, so let's see how that works. Hopefully everything works fine. So let's go back to our first frame. All right, so we don't, mind you, this is without the glow. We don't have the glow on it at this point. I just want to make sure of something. That's the problem. That would be why. Oh, I think I know. All right. All right. So without our glow, we go from this, we go to that, then we go to this, then we go to this, which has got a little bit of the gray. And as we can see, it's slowly dissipating into it because it gets eroded slowly. And it drops it down. So, all right, we've got our... So, if people don't remember the alpha channel episode, when we talked about alpha channels, what we have to do is sometimes we pre-multiply. When we did this with the fire, it's the exact same thing. We're doing the same thing. We're taking the result of this and we're pre-multiplying it a second time over itself, giving a doubly, basically putting the alpha channel over itself a second time, so that it blends better, or so that it basically pales it out. Now, I do believe we need to, after this point, yes, this is where we also want to put the glow. Now, let me think about this, because we've got a bit of a problem. I've created an alpha channel. See, I'm going to let you guys in on a secret. Another secret is this project. This was an updated version of a project, and it was not completed, and it crashed earlier today, and I was unable to get it fixed. And we're almost at the point, so I'm going to finish this on Monday. Definitely, but I want to put the glow in here. I think if we put the glow right here and just put it over. There we go. Now if we put that over, hopefully that will... This will do one of two things. Let's, first of all, let's go back, because I'm worried that we may not get the glow. Well, we'll see. We want to go to frame 32, I believe. Ah, what the heck? We'll go back. 32. All right. So here's 32. We're just going to get there. There's the front glow. See, the glow does not look strong enough to me. That looks okay, but let me just try something here. I want to see about if we put the glow before, does it work better? Alright, there we go. So that's got a nice solid glow to it. I just want to, for the moment, double check this. I'm going to try putting the glow after it, see if it looks any better or worse. Honestly, I don't know. I actually think we get more of an outer explodey bit with it back here. So we're going to put it, we're going to keep it there on our chain. All right. All right. So let's go through the, let's look at what we've got. This is this. If everything worked well, let's actually do this a little faster too. Let's set it to low frame rate. All right. So there we go. Now, it's not rendering as fast because it's also calculating in that glow every frame. So what we may do is, for the time being, I might duplicate a switch in here to bypass this whole circuit so that we can bypass the glow until we actually need it, because this is when we need the glow. This is all about optimization. But there we go. We can see the nice big explosion, and then it transforms into the fiery ball of burniness, and then it starts to dissipate, and we wind up with this big, huge combustion of gas and glowiness, and it will look awesome once we add in the little sparks, which again, we'll do the sparks on Monday. It's not too much further. We're almost there, but it's still complicated. And oh yes, and we also have to do the animation of the whole thing coming towards us and whatnot, and that hasn't been done. So also we have an ROD is massive. We can see it's hugely huge up here. Oh, I changed the size. Fudge. All right, we're gonna drop this down to 16 just for the sake of this, to make this go really, really fast, just so we can see this. So I'm not holding guys up for hours. There we go. We can sort of see what's going on. That's really quick. And so that gets us our explosion, and we'll work on that. We might work on that, on how it's fading out at the end there. It's looking a little bit, I'm not positive on like where it's at. We shall see. We shall see once we have this all put onto the we have to do a card 3D after this, and we have to put the sparky bits, because the sparky bits have to track along and do something different. No. Anyway, so we're going to call this, I'm going to save a new project version of this, and we're going to call this here. And so, right, I just want to say, oh yes, wait, before we do that, let's today's goal again, what we're working on, our ultimate goal of this two-parter is going to be to create this. And one more time. All right, there we go. That's what we're working on. We're mostly there, but we've run out of time for today's live stream. So, thanks for watching, and keep on Natroning.